Okay, in the last segment we saw some alignment possibilities, right, given two sentences, one in English and another one in French. I've shown some examples of how alignments can be made, and you will also see in the research papers alignments of this type, in the rectangular box where the alignments are filled once. Here there are three alignments that I have given. One is from English to French, another one is French to English, and another one is English to French again. So, in this case you can see that the alignments are one to one in this case, and then it is one to many in this case. Okay. So, ideally speaking, if this is how we get the alignments in all these sentences, it will be wonderful, but it is not going to be the case. This is mostly corresponding to word alignment. So, if you look at this one, you see that three words are aligned to one word, right. That means we can call this one as the phrase that is aligned to one word in French here, correct. So, in the same fashion again one single English word is aligned to three French words. So, if you want to look at the alignment, if you want to write the alignment for each of these, right, we need to be very careful when you look at the alignments, whether it is translated from English to French or French to English and so on, right. So, in this case we are going to be writing the alignment and condition the alignment with respect to the number of French words. Okay. So, in this case there are 6 words, and if you look at this, this is the English on the left side, and then you have French on the top, right, top columns. Here the translation is the otherwise. So, we need to condition this alignment with respect to the number of English words, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, correct. In this case again we need to condition the alignment with respect to the number of French words, is about it is 7 here. Okay. So, that means we are going to have A1 to A9 in this, A1 to A7, and then here A1 to A6. Got it. So, make sure that you understand from which language we are translating into, what is the target language, what is the source language, and then properly code the alignment. Otherwise, it would won't be the right way, because you are conditioning on the number of words from the source language. Okay. So, in this case what would be the alignment here, right. So, we have and then the English one is so, the alignment is very straightforward in this case. So, we can write the alignment with respect to the English sentence and the number of words in French. Okay. So, this is going to be A1 equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, very straightforward, correct. So, in this case we are going to have the alignment for English. So, how do you do that? That is there is going to be 9 elements in this alignment array. So, we have the first word aligned, right, and then the second word is aligned to the second word of French, third word is aligned to the third word of French, and then again 3, right, 3 again, and then we have 4, 4, 5, comma 5. See how the alignments are made. Okay, in the same fashion, you may want to try and align this. So, in this case, we are going to condition the alignment based on the number of words in French. Okay. So, you try this as an exercise for you. Okay. So, we have seen the alignments in general. It is possible for you to insert a token, a null token. So, for example, if there is no equivalent word in English or equivalent word in French, if you are translating from one to the other, right, we would like to associate one of those tokens with the null token, so that we can include that count as part of that. So, this is inserted if the target language does not have the equivalent source language word. Okay. And there could be one to many, we have seen that, and also there could be many to one alignments in the alignment set that you will create. Okay. So, it is important to note that it is not going to be just one to one, it is going to be one to many. There could be some words which are not aligned. So, we will assign a null to it, and there will be one to many words assigned from the source to the target, and then many to one from the source to the target as well. So, keep this in mind while you create the alignment. So, one of the alignment tables that I am just giving, we will look at that, look at this table in detail little later, how these are created, but just want to give you an idea how this is going to look like. When you have multiple sentences of this type, right. So, you are going to have pairs of sentences, a corresponding sentence of English is provided or aligned for you. So, you can start working from there. In some cases, you will not even have that alignment of sentences. You have to really align the sentences first from the English corpus to the French corpus. Think of the scenario, the number of sentences that you are going to be having in the parallel corpus is going to be around 500K for you to have a good translation model. And we expect somebody to really align these sentences first, and then align these words from English to French or from French to English, so that we can compute the alignments in this fashion. So, let us assume that there is a ideal scenario, and we want to really estimate and create the alignment table for us. Okay. Let us consider several sentences, and I have listed only 2 of those. What you need to do is you need to figure out how to really align those. Okay. So, in this case, as I mentioned earlier, this is going to be data driven. So, there is going to be no syntax element that is going to come into play, where you can map the syntax tree of one language to the other and then move the words into the respective part of speech in the syntax tree. So, in this case, we are going to be looking at the data of 500K or 1,000,000 sentences in the parallel corpus, and then going to compute the values of lay aligning to now, or lay aligning to the, or lay aligning to the book, and so on. So, this is something I have cooked up. The values are cooked up, these are not really computed, just to give you an idea how they really look like. If you look at this word here in French, and then want to find out how this word is aligned to various words in the sentence, right. As you mentioned, no, it is not it is not possible for you to really have a good alignment initially. You need to really identify the alignments by using the data that is available in the corpus, correct. Let us say that we have about 1000 sentences that consist of the words, book, table, and the translations of that. So, this is one such sentence that we have picked up from the parallel corpus. So, we have an English sentence here, and then we have the French sentence, and now we are going to be looking at all the 1000 sentences, okay, and trying to find out the alignment of each word in every sentence. For example, I am going to look at this one and then see how this is aligned to now. Okay, so, I start counting that, and then I start counting how many times the le and the aligned, okay, how many times le and book got aligned, and so on. So, assuming that we have a very ideal set of translation that we received in these 1000, we constructed table using the number of times the le is aligned to the. Okay, so, how do you count that? It is, so for example, if you want to find the translation probability of French assigning given the English word. So, when you want to do this, it is nothing but the count of the. For example, in this case it is going to be how many ever times le aligned with the, and the number of the that you find in the entire corpus of 1000 sentences. Okay, so, in this way we compute this, and at the end we will have some table of this type. Okay. And then if the translation which we assume is right in every aspect, we expect that le would be aligned to the many number of times. Okay. And the same fashion, the leave would be aligned to book in several pairs of translated sentences, or several pairs of English and French sentences. So, in the same fashion, table is aligned to table, and so on. So, if you look at this probability of this, okay, this is a table that contains the probability of alignments of each word, and you can see that there is an align. So, if you multiply these numbers, you will have a probability of this particular sentence, and also if you look at this numbers, right. So, along this lines, along this row, you will find that the having the higher value, and then rest of them are having lower values, and so on. Okay. So, in the same fashion for this and this. Okay. So, assuming that we have about 100,000 words in both English and French, you will have this combinations in the table of translation probability. Okay. So, this is a very simple sample table that just want to give you an idea how it really looks when you start computing the data from the sample corpus. Okay. So, what is that we have estimated? We have estimated the conditional probability of generating a French word F from the English word E using them. So, every time when you see in this, right, when you get a new sentence that contains the first word as le, so the probability of you picking up the translation is this, right. In the same way, if you have encountered here the probability of translating that into on is very high. Okay. So, assume in all these cases that we are talking about, we are going to be translating from French to English, all right.